If you guys can master supply and demand, you're going to increase your profits tenfold. If you want to gain value from this video, don't skip over any information or else you'll be missing out on the crucial pieces to the puzzle. So what we're going to be going over is, what is supply and demand? How is it useful in trading? How to identify supply and demand zones? How to apply supply and demand zones to your trading? And then also ways that I use supply and demand zones personally. So first, let's break down what supply and demand means in the context of stocks. In simple terms, supply is the amount of stock available to be sold, while demand is how much traders are willing to buy at a given price. This interaction between supply and demand determines the price of a stock. This is Economics 101. So guys, when there's high demand but low supply, prices are going to go up. And conversely, when there's high supply but low demand, prices are going to go down. It's pretty simple, right? So how is this beneficial to our trading? Using supply and demand zones in your trading is very crucial because you can identify solid entry and exit points. Not only that, but you're going to get a better sense of where and when markets are going to move drastically. But how do we identify these zones on a chart? So we're looking at the 4-hour chart of QQQ, and what we want to do here is identify supply and demand zones. So how do we do that? Supply zones are areas where selling pressure is strong enough to overcome the buying pressure. And as I'm looking at this chart here, we have this level here going up, price coming all the way back down to that level, right? Going up a little, coming back to it, and shattering through. Now, to me, that would be a super big red flag that we have a demand or supply zone forming because we were prior demand, shattering through now. Buyers have now turned into sellers. And when we came back to that price, boom, price drastically decreased. Now, on the other hand, demand zones are where buying pressure is strong enough to overcome selling pressure and causing price to rise. So if I'm looking at this chart here, price is going up, coming down, very drastically came down to this price. And if we look to the left here, we also had a drastic increase in price right before. So to me, that is signifying that we have a solid demand zone forming right around here, coming back to the demand, price going up, now it's all the way coming back down, and now we are currently coming back into this demand zone. So with this information we now have on this chart, now we can make an informed decision on what we want to do with our trades. And people trade multiple different things, multiple different setups. I'll just give you an example of how maybe I would take this setup. Using supply and demand as our trading strategy, we're going to wait for price to come down to this 445 level, and we would go long here. So our stop loss would be around 442, and our take profit would be around 450. This would be our take profit, and our stop loss would be around here. That would give us about a 2-to-1, 1.75 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And if I was personally just using supply and demand in my trading strategy, this would be a definite setup that I would definitely take long, because we have that demand confirmation coming back to it, and then also even more buyers stepping in right here. So this level is actually a very solid level if you're just looking at supply and demand. And I would use this, I would take this trade if I was just using supply and demand in my strategy. So I wanted to cover why I would actually have my stop loss and my take profits. So basically, we had this demand zone forming around 445 first here. We came back down to it, bounced up to it, and then obviously it formed that demand zone. So putting it at 442 gives it a little room to let it run. if it accidentally, pulls back to like 443, like it did here, we're giving it more room to let the trade actually work out in our favor. And having our take profit around 450, that's going to give us that good risk to reward ratio for it to become a solid trade. And risk to reward isn't the only factor that I'm considering here. We also have 450, which is a psychological number, whole number, as well as 445 and 442. Those are all whole numbers, but 450 is a very strong whole psychology number. And I'm going to make another video about that in itself, but that is another reason why this would be a solid setup. So overall, let's break this down. So first, we have our demand zone that is established, well and established now. Then we have our risk management, which is our stop loss. And then also we have a solid take profit area where we know price is a magnet basically to those whole psychology numbers. And with all these factors combined, we can develop a supply and demand trading strategy. And there's going to be different things that constitutes your strategy from my strategy, and different things how you see the charts and how I see the charts. Every trader is different, and I want everyone to remember that. Don't just think, oh, I'm doing this, so you have to do it. That's not true. If you're seeing one thing, you're seeing this setup, go for it. You need to have faith. You need to have confidence in your trading. And I would say that's one of the most important things in becoming a profitable trader and developing that edge. You need to have confidence within your own style, within your own methods of how you see the charts. Imagine catching that 5-point move up. I mean, that would be solid profits if you're doing options. But guys, you got to remember, no strategy in this strategy is not foolproof, but it is a very, very powerful tool that you can add to your trading arsenal. With that being said, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you found immense value in learning about supply and demand zones and how to use them effectively. And remember, the key to mastering trading is to continue practice, continue learning. Be sure to watch my other videos on tips and strategies, and that's going to help you reach profitability even faster. But with that being said, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one.